Part 4. Everybody needs good vizinhos. And that didn't only signify the people of Potato, but of the parish of Villanova and the wider Concelho of Miranda de Corvo as a whole. Chapter 16. Old Friends. Our goodbyes had begun the night before we left our village. Us two permanent English residents of Potato watched little television, and when we did, it was usually done as the sun lowered in the sky beyond the window of the lemon room. The building was annexed to the main house and had received its name due to a tree producing such fruit, which Stephen had planted a metre or so from it. The space, although roughly decorated, had become one of our favourite places. Its big windows and proximity to the garden meant that whilst sitting on the sofa, showered and winding down at the end of the day, we were given the opportunity to see the changing colours of sky and vegetation, the latter's forms becoming dark silhouettes against the yellow, oranges and reds of sunset. During the week leading up to our departure for England, we had been joined by my sister Linda. The woman, who is 9 years older than me, had all her life fought against phobias that were a legacy of having caught meningitis as a child, and it never failed to amaze those who had known her over the years just how she had taken to flying, unaccompanied, on regular trips to stay with me and Stephen. It was in fact a testimony to the remarkable personal progress she had made and the guidance she received from the people who cared for her. Steve and I had little worries about asking Linda to look after things in our absence. She herself enjoyed her stays in Portugal, and despite the language barrier, she knew and was known by a great number of people in the small village of Potato. So, with this in mind, she had few doubts that if needed, help could be called upon night or day from her temporary Portuguese neighbours. And our friend, who was an English lady called Mary. Us natives kept different times to those of our neighbours. As summer day temperatures hung around the mid-30s and low 40s, the hours before sunset was the time that people emerged from their cool homes into the cooling night air. Thus, whereas Stephen and I rose early and dealt with the few vegetables we grew before the sun became too hot, many of our Portuguese neighbours preferred to do their watering and hoeing, or just go for a walk as evening approached. On the eve of our return to Britain to visit the West Wing, we were a few minutes into watching an American television series about political intrigue, collusion and backstabbing with our four-legged doorbell, Melina. She alerted us that somebody was at the gates, as she always did. The house where we lived had undergone substantial renovation, and things were not necessarily where you would expect to find them, which is clearly demonstrated by the front door, which in truth was at the back of the house. With no doorbell to ring or knocker to rap, Melina became the usual means of alerting us to visitors. And the person ringing the doorbell was our neighbour, Manel, who we called the Major. The man, who was in his mid-80s, had popped along to wish us a bon voyage from him and his wife. Alongside the good tidings, Maria had also insisted that her husband pass on the message that she would look in on Linda every day. As I remembered this kindness of our neighbours, another salvo was fired as the Portuguese memories rallied to their cause.